2025 is shaping up to be a critical turning point for the Las Vegas real estate market. Trump's executive orders are already in motion, and they're hitting the Las Vegas housing market harder than most buyers realize. In this video, I'm gonna break down exactly how Trump's new policies, from tariffs and material shortages to construction delays, immigration crackdowns, and the pricing pressure that's already being baked into homes across the Las Vegas Valley. If you're new here, my name is Olga. I make videos about living in Las Vegas. I'm also a real estate agent, and I've helped dozens of families to relocate here to Las Vegas over the past few years. So if you're banking on prices dropping or waiting for the perfect time, the information that I provide in this video could force a major rethink. So let's break down exactly what's happening and how to stay ahead of it. So first, let's dig into why the prices are not dropping and may potentially rise again soon. While the Las Vegas market might feel like it's cooling with slightly lower buyer demand and increased inventory on the market, there are some hidden costs that are propping the market and keeping the prices near the historic high. Let's talk about the aggressive tariffs on lumber, appliances, drywall that are raising the costs to build new homes as of early 2025. Currently, Canadian softwood lumber that is entering the US market is subject to a tariff of 14.5%, while a proposed additional 25% tariff was delayed and then eventually exempted as of April of 2025. Future increases are anticipated. The US Department of Commerce's next review, which is expected to take place in late summer or early fall, could push rates up to 27% or higher, with estimates predicting that it could even go up to as high as 34%, which means that new home builders across Summerlin, Inspirada, Cadence, Sky Canyon are paying more to basically build the same home. These hidden costs are why Las Vegas new home prices haven't dropped much, even with higher rates. I hear a lot of buyers talk about the fact that they're waiting for mortgage rates to drop, but as of the recording of this video, the rates are almost 7%. So they're definitely not dropping down to 3%, the rates that we saw during the pandemic. It's just likely not going to happen again. So waiting for that number in the threes is likely not a very realistic expectation. Trump's executive orders are acting like a hidden tax on the costs of new homes. As of May of 2025, the National Association of Home Builders estimates that the recent US tariffs on imported building materials have increased the average cost of constructing a brand new single-family home by almost $11,000. In addition to lumber from Canada, the other tariffs on imported materials from countries like China and Mexico are also impacting a wide range of construction materials, including steel, aluminum, gypsum, as well as a variety of appliances. The cost of building materials has been impacting the pricing of new homes for a while now. Since December of 2020, the cost of building materials has surged by 34%, which significantly has outpaced inflation overall. These added costs from tariffs are typically passed on to the consumer, impacting the price of homes and really affecting affordability. To mitigate these costs, some builders are stockpiling materials, looking for alternative suppliers, or adjusting their construction methods. And the fluctuating nature of tariff policies contributes to market instability, which ultimately makes it very hard for new home builders to plan and price projects effectively. The National Association of Home Builders continues to advocate for a reduction or elimination of tariffs on essential building materials in order to bring the building costs down. But since Trump has made tariffs a cornerstone of his current presidency, I really don't see that happening anytime soon. The National Association of Home Builders reports that the tariffs on imported construction materials are causing substantial delays in the supply chain. And these disruptions in the supply chain are leading to project delays, which is causing increased costs for builders and consumers alike. And when there are increased costs for home builders, they don't really want to eat those costs. They want to pass those costs on to the consumer. Now, I've talked a little bit already about the increased cost of construction materials, but I want to go over the list of all of the construction materials that are going to be tariffed, just so you have an idea of everything that will end up costing more. We can expect price hikes on everything from quartz and granite countertops, engineered hardwood flooring, luxury vinyl tile, cabinets and cabinet doors, plumbing and lighting fixtures, and construction materials that are made with steel and aluminum. These commodities are often manufactured in countries like China, Mexico, Vietnam, and Canada, all countries that are subject to Donald Trump's tariffs. So not only will these increases in materials impact new home construction, this will also impact renovation projects as well as home flippers, as these materials are going to cost 5 to 25% more. For example, the cost of a kitchen remodel could increase by $2,000 to $5,000 or more, given the increase on these tariff-driven product costs. The margins on flips are already pretty small, and I personally know this because I used to work pretty closely with a flipper. So yes, of course, they do make money and it adds up from home to home, and those flippers are not going to want to eat into their profits. Therefore, there's a likelihood of home prices increasing for this reason. And they're not gonna wanna eat those additional costs. Therefore, flippers will want to pass those additional costs on to the consumer. So we've talked about tariffs at length, but now I wanna talk about Trump's immigration policies and how it's impacting the Las Vegas labor force. The Trump administration's plan to deport millions of undocumented immigrants could lead in an increase in housing prices, particularly in southern Nevada, where many construction workers are undocumented. According to the Urban Institute, about 1 in 3 construction workers in Nevada are immigrants. So that means that thousands of construction workers in Nevada are undocumented. And you don't have to be an economist to know and understand that if thousands of workers are removed from the construction industry here in Las Vegas, the price of homes is going to go up and the price of labor is going to go up. And we are in a market that is still booming. The housing demand remains very strong in Las Vegas, and the reason why the demand continues to be strong is because of domestic migration from states like California. Californians are flocking to Las Vegas still because of pricing, lifestyle, and opportunities that are not available in California. So what does this all mean ultimately for buyers, sellers, and builders? For buyers, prices may rise even if the rates stay stable due to build cost pressure. So for certain, what we do know is right now we are in a balanced market that is slightly favored towards the buyer. So as a buyer right now, you are seeing a lot more inventory available, both in new construction as well as resale. There are price drops that are happening. There is opportunity to negotiate deals, and that is right now. We don't know where we're gonna be 3, 6, 9 months out. Warren Buffett has a very famous saying that I've been hearing a lot lately: be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy. And right now, a lot of people are fearful. So could be a decent time right now to buy a home and get a good deal. It's been a really long time, like years since the pandemic, where buyers have had this much negotiating power and where buyers have had this much inventory to choose from, and not as much competition where every house has multiple offers. Typically, in today's market, the buyer is working on negotiations directly with the seller, so there's not multiple offers involved. And there has been a lot of opportunities for my buyers in recent months to get lower prices, to negotiate better terms, and overall feel like they're walking away with a good deal. Also, for buyers of new construction homes, the tariffs have yet to increase the prices on a lot of the standing inventory that has been available and on market for the past few months. So you are still able to get a really amazing deal on a lot of those quick move-in new construction properties that are on market, and the builders are just ready and willing to get them out the door for a much lower price. So what does this mean for sellers? Well, sellers of resale homes are positioned much better than new home builders because they are not affected by the tariffs and the increases in building materials as well as appliances. That said, because of the rising inventory here in Las Vegas, we're up by 50% from last year. Sellers are still incentivized to work with buyers, to work with them on the price, to work with them on the terms, and overall work with them on giving them a great deal. And for the builders, it definitely looks like there could be some challenging times ahead. Of course, no one has a crystal ball. And with the price increases and the tariffs, there just seems to be a lot of uncertainty ahead for the builders. So the question is, do you wait or do you jump into the market right now? And while I definitely can't give any financial advice, and this is not financial advice, but from personal experience, I have bought and sold in a buyer's market and a seller's market. And what I can tell you right now is here in the Las Vegas Valley, we are currently in a buyer's market. We have just shifted into the buyer's market in the last few months. And what I can tell you is buyers are able to get better prices. There is more inventory to choose from, 50% up from last year. Sellers are offering more concessions to buyers. And overall, there seems to be a lot more opportunities for you as a buyer right now to walk into the market, to have your options, to be able to negotiate, to not feel like you have to make a decision the day you see a home, and get the best terms possible for you right now. And yes, the interest rates are definitely still high. As of today, we're at about 7%. However, interest rates are something that could be refinanced down the road. So when interest rates drop down the road, you could work with your preferred lender to refinance. However, what we don't know is what the prices are going to look like at that time and what the market is going to look like at that time. Potentially, we may not be in a buyer's market anymore. And it has been years and years since we have been in a buyer's market here in Las Vegas. So to wrap that up, you can choose when you can refinance. However, you can't choose the state of the market and whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. And all we know right now is that the market has shifted into a buyer's market. The reality is Trump's executive orders are reshaping the housing market faster than people can even realize. And the only thing that is certain right now is that there's a lot of uncertainty. There's definitely some deals to be had on the standing inventory that is currently on the market. I recently made a new construction video that goes over the blueprint to follow if you are going the new construction route. I'm gonna link this video right here. Definitely check that out. It has a lot of really good, valuable information about the whole entire new construction process that could definitely be very helpful if this is your first time jumping in. And generally, if you have questions about the Las Vegas real estate process, I understand that it might be a really confusing time. There's so much going on. The buyer confidence is pretty low. There's just so much uncertainty overall. That's why it's super important to have a local real estate agent that could support you with the moment-to-moment changes in the market, the day-to-day changes, someone that has their pulse on the market and that's actively in the market day-to-day, just because there are so many changes that are happening. So I'd love to be that resource for you. I'm gonna drop my contact details below, my phone number. Feel free to text me, call me, email me. I'd love to be a resource for you. And thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it was helpful. And with that, I will see you in the next one.